Okay, we're moving on, folks.
More open forum, please.
Okay. Yes?
Thank you, Janice Shackelford,
Is it on something that we've
16
already...
Red Pony Lane. At the last meeting, you continued the issue on trails being possibly proposed for removal out in the valley, and they're not on tonight's agenda. Would you please clarify when those issues will be heard?
I'm going to refer to...
We have been doing a lot of research, as you know. We've talked to a lot of people on both sides of the issue and people in the middle. What we've determined would be the best course of action at this time is to take all of this information we've gathered, send it back to the Trails Committee, with George Bernard and yourself and other people who are on that committee, to try to come up with something that's not so nebulous that we can present to people, so that there's not all this consternation on both sides. People want horse trails. Horse trails are great. We want horse trails too. That's why we have a horse trails committee. We're for that. However, there are a lot of people who misunderstand when they look at a map and all they see is a big trail coming across their property that makes it so that it looks like they can't use their property anymore, that people are just going to be coming and trespassing all over their land. That's what it looks like to someone who doesn't know. And a lot of the people weren't informed when these lines were being drawn. They weren't involved. So there needs to be some time in order to get everyone on the same page so that everyone has a clear understanding of what's happening here, so that we don't have people who are feeling slighted one way or the other. Now, the Trails plan is a long plan. It's a long road to go, as you said. It's going to happen over many, many years as people do discretionary permitting and so on and so forth. So why not take some time and try to present it to everybody so that we can all be together as a community working for the same goals? And we just ask for that time in order to be able to really work with that, if you may.
Okay. When will the next meeting of the Trails Subcommittee be held?
When would you like?
I'm not the chair. I can't call it.
Okay. I'll have that set up by the next meeting on the 18th.
Okay.
Is that acceptable?
That's fine. If you recall in the past, the Trails Subcommittee must be publicly notified, and Rick always did that by putting a notice at the top of the agenda that the meeting would be held at a certain time of the evening, usually
historically
prior.
We've done it 30 minutes prior to the meeting.
Okay, or maybe an hour, but just so that is clearly noticed, so that if members of the public want to attend, they can. In the past, the subcommittee I chaired was about 10 members. So I don't know who else beside you and I and the chair is on the subcommittee anymore.
But it's open to the public.
Bill would like to sit in on it as well.
I certainly have been learning a lot about it.
Yeah. Now, for those in the audience, we post our meeting agenda 72 hours before a meeting. And it's posted online, and it's posted at the Lakeside Historical Society, correct? On the billboard. Okay. And I'm going to request that a meeting be held for this trails 45 minutes before this meeting. So at 6:15, be here and participate if you may.
On the 18th?
Yes.
On April 18th or May? Or the
April 18th.
I have a conflict.
At what time?
You have a conflict? What time can you make it, George? After the meeting?
well, no, because I think that would be a moot point. These folks want some ammunition to take to the meeting.
Well, Janice has that trail, a copy of the trail, so the trail's posted. So people that would want to bring up an issue on the trail.
Let's shoot for 45 minutes.
45 minutes before the meeting, 2 weeks from now, Wednesday, 6:15. Yes, ma'am. Your name?
Sharon Johnson, Mid Ranch Lane.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know how I can join the subcommittee and when I can do that. And if
Just
there's a
show up
number,
and we'll.
I can join
what's the
then.
appropriate number of
Well,
people?
the tattoo they put on. 6:15, request to be,
It's open to the public.
Right, but I want to be on the committee too. Me too.
6:15, 18, show up.
everybody
they'll
that
put you on the
comes
committee.
is on the committee. It's just chaired by a member of the Lakeside Planning Group,
Okay,
okay?
so we'll be there.
And so,
Who is, by the way, pro-chair, or pro-horse? I mean, I own a feed store, for God's sakes. You think I'm gonna cut my nose off just like my face?
all right, is there anything else under open forum? Yes, ma'am.
Dolores Keys, Rocky Lane. You may remember I'm the one who asked you to agendize the trails on the last meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm here tonight because I did look up your agenda, and it wasn't on the agenda after you'd said you were going to agendize it.
Well,
And I would ask,
I'm sorry.
I would ask, in the future, I don't have a problem with the process of sending it to the subcommittee, but please follow through, put it on the agenda, and say that you're going to send it to the subcommittee, so sometimes we don't have to show up then.
Well, we at the end of our meetings, we have the TAC report, we have sports, and we have trails at every one of our meetings. Okay, a specific trail was requested, and that was the crossing Highway 67
Right.
and Johnson Lake Road. That was the only one that there was actually a request, and they
No.
thought it was. Excuse me. There was a connecting one that went on up to Muth Valley that the owners of the property were not prepared to discuss that. Plus, that was not the concern. Public safety was the concern on the Highway 67 narrow Johnson Lake Road. That was the only one, and everybody else thought, hey, we're going to ixnay all the trails. That's not the case.
And I'm not, my public forum and speech right this moment is not about that argument.
Yes?
My request would be, for something to think about, that you carry through when someone in the audience asks for a specific thing and you say yes, that you carry through with some information. That's all.
Well, there was another trail that we were discussing.
41, 44.
And she has backed off of that.
She's backed off?
Yes.
Dolores, for you or for anybody here, I send out the agenda.
Yes, I
If
got
you
it
would
from you.
like
Thank
to
you.
be on the list for every time, I have no problem adding you. And then you'll be getting the agenda. So for
Right,
anyone
I did
who's
get it.
new,
I do want to.
put it on your sign-in that you want to be added. Make sure your email is clearly written. I have no problem adding you to that.
Well, like she said, we did think it was going to be on the agenda tonight.
She
That's
said
why
it was
we're
going to
here. Because we had planned on coming because it was going to be on the agenda, and all of a sudden it's not. We're going, okay, what happened to it? Did you guys just wipe it out? That was our concern.
Well, like I
You said it was
said,
going to
the agenda is posted at the Historical Society 72 hours before a meeting. Okay?
We were promised it was
online.
going to be on.
But who-
Dee asked you.
Well, my apologies, folks.
That's why we're here.
Milton, you had a...
I just want to say, I know that we had to do a lot of research. This isn't a simple issue. There are a lot of moving parts. There are a lot of people who have a very, passionate stake in this. So you have whether forest trail people and property owner people, and we really need some time, if you will, to make a good and fair decision for everybody.
Just let us know, and then
we will let you know. We will, like Laura said, if you would just please, if you want us to send you an email copy of the agenda, you can get on our list, write your email address down on the sign-in sheet clearly, and we'll make sure we include you on that.
I'm not a negative horse person. My daughter at 16 years old took youth all around with Cindy Carter. And I own cattle and I own horses. So I'm not a not horse person. George?
As your trails chairman, I want to make sure I'm getting the right feel here. Were there those of you that actually believed that Johnson Lake Road crossing Highway 67 was a viable trail? I'm trying to think who in their right mind. First of all, Johnson Lake Road, as we stated, is a private road and is owned by the homeowner. Excuse me, Janice, you were allowed to talk.
All right, now.
I just want to make sure that people didn't think that was a
I'm
viable.
gonna call this to order here. Folks, if this is any more about the trails, see George after the meeting, please. We're gonna move on,
It wasn't about
otherwise.
business, it's just asking you to follow through on what you told us
I heard
last
you.
time.
I heard you.
It's not-
All right,
I
all
have one
right.
question.
Public hearings, yes.
He says,
Get one more on the floor.
Where can we get a copy of the minutes? Where do we go to get a copy of the minutes of the
From
meeting?
the county posts them online, but I can also send you that as well. Now that
Once they've been approved.
Now that they've been approved, I can send you those. And I do send them to the county after they've been approved, so I always send them the evening after our meeting. But I can put you on that list as well.
If you go to the Department of Planning and Land Use,
Their
right,
website.
the county, San Diego County, there's a website, you can go and find Lakeside Planning Group, you can find all past minutes,
4
you can
years
find
or
all
so.
past agendas, you can find everything.
Okay, so then you guys approved the agenda, right?
That's posted 72 hours, and that
No,
floats.
I mean, you guys approved the minutes.
Correct.
It has
We just
nothing
did
like-
that at the
if we
beginning of the
had
meeting.
something that we thought was wrong with them, do we have a say on that?
Well, sure, if you saw something was spelled incorrectly,
Yeah, well, because-
or you disagreed with the discussion that was taking
Well,
place.
or because the number of members that were here, that were public and it wasn't.
Did we address
We
that?
actually did correct that. We did
She did correct it.
That was in the first part of the
But it
minutes.
hadn't been
Just so you know, because you're active and you want to know this stuff, go onto the land use website, go look up the Lakeside Community Planning
Where's
Group.
that
There's a
address?
ton of information and history and everything. You can look that
Just
stuff
put in
up.
Lakeside
Okay.
Community Planning.
fixed. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.